Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 19th edition of the BS Podcast. Once again, I've brought in a new guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Moriarty.
What do you do, Moriarty?
That's a fun question. I assume you mean, like, what would people know I do? And that would be, well, I do some YouTube, and I do a little bit of Twitch, and yeah, I guess that's that. I'm also one of the two directors of NewTubers. A lot of different random stuff, man.
Yeah, you're a very busy person, I would imagine.
I don't know if I'm super busy compared to like lots of other people, but I feel like I'm busy. The funny thing is, a lot of people think I'm really, really busy, but I also find that when I look at my own schedule, I go, God, there's so many things I could be doing. So maybe I'm just not scheduled, or I don't know, busy enough.
Maybe. So the first question I have to ask you, what is the origins of CryMor Gaming, and what does it mean to you now?
Oh, that's So, CryMor is obviously a portmanteau of Crypto Spook and Moriarty. And Crypto is no longer part of the channel, but he was. I mean, he's still around, but he very busy being a spy for the government. And
Yep.
he kind of had to go and do his own thing. And when we were thinking about doing a YouTube channel, because he was friends with War Owl and introduced me, and we were like, oh, this YouTube thing, it's so easy. We could do this. And we were thinking of names, and we were going through names, and he really liked the Crypto Spook and Moriarty show. And that's just such a terrible name for a YouTube channel.
A very long.
Oh man, could you imagine being like, oh, what's your channel? Oh, it's the Crypto Spook and Moriarty show. By the way, Crypto Spook's not on the channel anymore. So yeah, that didn't work out so well. But CryMor was kind of, you in the gaming lexicon, CryMor is something that people will say when they think that their competitor is bitching about something. Oh, you guys are cheating. Well, cry more, that kind of thing. So it worked because at that point we were doing Counter-Strike videos, and we were doing what are called Overwatch videos, and that's like an anti-cheating thing. And you go and you just kind of look at it, and they're fun, and people were they were very popular at the time. A lot of people were making careers off of it, or at least like the beginning of careers off of it. This is obviously before they came out with Blizzard's Overwatch, which completely killed the CSGO Overwatch community, because now you can't find a CSGO Overwatch video. Occasionally you'll have people like established creators in the Counter-Strike world, like War Owl and Sparkles and Nick Bunyan and stuff. They'll do them, but you can't really build a career there anymore. So we were doing that, and they were really hard because we'd never edited and never, I started doing YouTube with literally zero experience doing anything in YouTube. I never recorded my screen before, and went into it and was like, wow, this whole editing thing, this is a bitch. I don't like this at all. It's super not fun and really difficult. And decided that we would do some low effort videos as well, right? We would do these Overwatch videos that, they took like 2 or 3 hours to edit, which, that's a lot to somebody who's never edited before. So we'll do these reviews instead, because we can do them 15 minutes, no problem, no work, just play the game for a few minutes and then, record some footage and then talk about it unscripted and throw on the audio on top of it. Boom, done video. And that's what we started as. And then one day I went out and bought a Vive, and Crypto didn't like that he didn't have one. So he bought a Vive too. And then we became VR reviewers. And then after a little while, he was like, "Oh well, I'm a spy, and I need to go spy on stuff." So he had to duck out because it just was one of those things where it's like, "Look, I'm home once a month," kind of a deal. And he
Yeah.
didn't have weekends anymore. Period. So like, there was no good time that worked. Um, so I kept doing it, and we'd had a guy named Brax, who you have recently done one of these podcasts with. And
Great guy.
yep, he had jumped onto a couple of videos with me before, and I asked him if he would like to come on and be my part two. I've never found that kind of an unscripted thing works well with just one person, so he agreed and jumped on, and he kind of took Crypto's spot, um, physically, though not in our hearts. And yeah, he did that, and then after a while, I was like, God damn, I kind of hate these reviews. They're not really something that I would watch, and so therefore, I don't think anyone else would watch them. I mean, you'd have a video that would do 25,000 views, and then the next video would do 6, and then the next video would do 6,000 views. So it wasn't even like people weren't coming for me. They weren't coming for Brax. They were coming for the actual game itself. And while that's certainly one way to do a channel, I don't know, it didn't feel like something I wanted to keep devoting my time to, and so now I do what would be commonly considered a video essay, though I have recently coined the term visual think piece, and while I can't quite copyright that, I will point back to this audio tape here and be like, look, see, I was talking about it in 2019 before you stole that there, PewDiePie. You know what I mean?
I really like that way of phrasing it. I think that you just gotta stick with that. Beginning now to the end of time, you gotta stick with it.
With the visual think piece? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's really more of what we do. Like, I don't write an essay in a traditional way, right? Like, my thesis doesn't necessarily have a whole bunch of supporting arguments behind it. I write something that I could see being put into an article on a Kotaku or one of those things. Only, obviously, if it were on any of those websites, it'd have a whole lot more politics in it and some sort of awful statement that insults either one group or another, which is, not what I do necessarily. But the point is that I write in that kind of a way, right? And so for me, calling it a video essay, it's not really, because I may not even support what I'm talking about. I could literally just like write a thing that I want to talk about in some way, and here you go, here's my thinking. I've made a video that was just being like, hey, here's a thing with absolutely nothing else behind it, no critical thinking whatsoever, just like, this is literally what a thing is. And so for me, that's more of a visual think piece.
Yeah, and I feel like it really goes well sometimes, and then you have a video like Doom Eternal, and it's just like, the people, they took it so hard.
And it's funny too, because so Doom Eternal is my most disliked video ever, and it has almost 1,000 dislikes on it now, which I think is actually kind of an achievement. Like, that's,
It really is.
That's like, that's an achievement to get 1,000 dislikes on a video that has 5,000 views.
And keep in mind, for anyone listening, this video is months old, but it still gets hateful comments
on a daily basis.
Basically every single day. And it's the creativity with the negative comments are hilarious.
It's beautiful. Every morning, literally every morning, I wake up and I have a new comment on the Doom video, and it's going to be something that's either racist, homophobic, or just generally a, go F yourself kind of thing.
If you could redo the video now, would you change a thing about it?
Actually, there are a few things that I would do, but nothing would change. Like, it wouldn't change anything for the average person who watched it. There's just a couple of arguments that I felt I didn't make that I could have made, or that I could have made slightly clearer. And again, it wouldn't have done anything because I was still... The whole point of the video, for those who haven't seen it, is that I'm essentially responding to the id... I think it was E3, but it was the Bethesda... I don't remember. It was one of the conferences, and id came out and they showed the video for the new Doom Eternal. And in that, there are 3 things that they did that I personally thought looked kind of dumb. One is they have wall climbing, and I thought, wow, that's a really slow way to traverse a map in Doom. And for people who know Doom specifically, it is a always moving game. It's always about motion and attack, right? And they actually coined a thing called attack forward movement. So, like, having wall climbing in it just felt dumb because it's slow. And then they also did these Prince of Persia yellow poles, and I just thought that looked dumb because you're swinging on poles in Doom. And then they had this, like, jackpot armor popcorn thing where when you shoot a guy, armor will fly out like ting 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 ting, kind of like a jackpot, and it just looked dumb. And people went insane, like they went completely insane. And oh my goodness, like to this day, I'm baffled as to why so many people care so much. And here's the thing, I already feel like when this game actually comes out, if it's bad, right, I'm going to get just as much hate as if it's good. Because we did a video the next week or the week before it, I can't remember, on Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption, where it was another thing. They'd showed it off at E3, and it was like, look, here are some concerns we have about this upcoming game. We have this concern about X, Y, and Z. And when the game came out, it was actually a positive like-dislike ratio until the game came out. And then, like, within 2 days of the game coming out, it plummeted. And now it also has almost 1,000 dislikes on it. So, like, I'm wondering if it's going to do the same sort of thing. And you know what's funny? Okay, I actually have something proud about that Red Dead Redemption video. Even though it is so... so incredibly hated. And it has an insanely bad like to dislike ratio. It is at just under 6% likes to dislikes. 6%. Okay. So that means for every like, there are 20 dislikes. Well, 19 dislikes. That's an insane ratio. And from all of my research, there is not a single other video over 5,000 views that has that bad of a like to dislike ratio on YouTube. It has a worse like to dislike ratio than YouTube Rewind.
That is an incredible statistic.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand. Like, that one's even more mild than Doom.
You poke at something they value.
That's true.
You can't poke at what they value or they just freak out.
It's true. And, you know, like...
And it's not even like either of those videos. It wasn't like you was pounding on it all day long.
No, that's the thing.
It was just...
They're super mild. It's super mild. It's like, by the way, I'm just not so sure I like this thing. Well, fuck you!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was incredible to watch and see how people react.
I'm glad.
Glad
I could entertain you, Wes.
Reading those comments was an incredible experience just to see how passionate people got. And I'm listening to it, I'm like, I just don't get why they're so emotional about what you said. These are real things. Like that pole in Doom looks completely out of place. It doesn't look like it would organically be there.
Thank you.
In any world.
Thank you. I agree.
And that's not a bad thing to say.
Apparently, it's the worst thing you can possibly say.
Apparently. So, What originally got you into virtual reality?
Okay, so I never was one of those people who thought that VR would be a thing. I thought it was kind of a dumb idea. And then I was wandering in a mall and they had a Microsoft store in this mall and they were doing demos and it was like, I don't know, a Wednesday at 7:30 in the afternoon. So like or I guess that's the evening. Nobody was there. The store was empty. There's nothing going on. So I was like, "Hey, can I do a demo on this thing?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." And they stuck me in it. And then they loaded up a couple of different games, some of the early games. And by games, I don't mean game. Like one was you're standing on a boat and it's underwater. It's called The Blue. It was one of the more popular ones when the Vive originally came out. And then there was like this space pirate one. But the point is that I played these things and I was like, holy hell, man, you just don't understand what this is like until you try it. You know, if you just look at people talking about it, you don't get it. And even with these like integrated green room VR videos that were at the time incredibly expensive, but they were coming out from the big companies like HoloLens, Microsoft, and Oculus, Facebook, and then Vive from HTC. They were doing these big produced things, and I was like, you're just not getting what it actually is like from these super slick produced things. And nobody was doing reviews at the time. Nobody. Like, there was no VR reviews because obviously nobody really had them. Nobody had the VR headsets yet. Like, the Oculus it wasn't released yet. There was nothing but the Vive, and I got it the day it came out, So I started doing these reviews for it, and as I did that, I got more and more into the VR because I picked it up on a whim. I was literally like, hey, this is cool. I want to show like my friends this. I want my mom to try it out. You know what I mean? And so I bought it. I pre-ordered it because they weren't, for sale yet. So I paid for it, and when I came out and when I picked it up, I brought it home and I tried it out, and I started doing just a couple of cheapo reviews of VR stuff because why not? And then we started getting VR attention. We were getting people in the community and in the industry were paying attention to us, and we weren't doing like a let's play style thing, right? So people were actually like, hey, these guys are doing real reviews and they're doing more in-depth stuff, and they're a little bit more mature. They're not just screaming and laughing and all that kind of stuff. So I started doing that, and as I got into doing that, because we started to build an audience from it, that is also how I started getting into VR itself. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. And basically, because I watched all the videos at the time, and it was interesting to see, from my perspective, what I imagined VR would be and what it was today. Because obviously, it was in its early stages, and for the next year, we'll say, round about a year.
Oh, okay.
Witnessed review after review of different VR games, and of course, after a while, it just turned into what wave-based shooter are we playing and reviewing this week?
Yeah. They all did start going that way. And I think that was more of a commentary on the industry itself, personally. But, I guess they're easy to code. They're just not very much fun. Especially not when you're doing 5 or 10 a week.
Yeah, I would bet. Since you've stopped doing VR videos, would you say a lot has changed about VR?
I don't know. So when we switched over to the visual think piece format, the very first video we did was also the very last VR video I did. And it was the last review that we did, period. It was the last of the first impressions. It was the last of all of everything that was unscripted, game first impression review criticism, all of that, right? It was the very last of that. And it was me saying VR is not fun. And here's why. And a lot of people didn't understand it because they read just the title and then comment. But the whole concept there is that VR games are not fun. They're always wave-based shooters, and they're, these cheapo things that are overpriced, and essentially we're driving ourselves into another Atari type of downfall, which is being borne out, by the way. Like, that video is being shown to be true today because, VR isn't exploding. And when people think about VR, they think about it. Point is, if you want to know what I'm saying, watch the video and know that I'm right. But the difference from there to now is just that the VR industry, has realized that they are not supposed to be focusing on X, Y, and Z that we were focusing on then. We're not supposed to be focusing on just pure entertainment projects. We're supposed to be focusing on business projects. We're supposed to be focusing on training. VR today is super, 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 super cool and super useful for people who are like training to be a surgeon. Like, that's a really useful thing.
Yep. A lot of ways you can use VR to help learn how to do things you would do in person.
Yeah. And that's great. If I can give a doctor a VR experience to learn how to engage in surgery, and it is better than, putting them into a cadaver or potentially having them kill an actual patient, hey, that's great, and that's where VR is really, really useful today. So in terms of how has it changed? It hasn't. It still sucks. It's still overpriced. It's still filled with bad games that are not enjoyable, and VR for the average consumer is still not fun. And the thing is, when I say that, right, the VR people are always like, but I have fun in this one game. And it's like, yeah, that one game does not a medium make. Just because that one game is fun, that should tell you when you're looking at that and you go, well, no, there's this one thing that's really the shining example. If you have one single shining example, then your industry, it sucks. It's like, imagine if there was one good YouTuber. One. Oh, no, YouTube doesn't suck because PewDiePie is fantastic. Like, that would say that YouTube does suck, but PewDiePie is still good, And that's the thing. When we look at these VR titles, it's like, no, VR is not fun. These games are fun, but VR isn't.
Do you think that will change, or do you think VR is going to take a similar path that 3D movies did, where it just kind of tampers off after a bit? And maybe, we don't know, maybe 3D becomes very popular when we go to holographic stuff in real life. Maybe it makes a comeback then. But
I
for
think
now,
3D's probably dead. I think VR is probably not going to be around for that much longer, but mixed reality, that'll be around for a much longer period of time. And that's mostly because mixed reality can also do VR. If you've got, a see-through headset that can project a realistic image in front of you, so, augmented reality, as it were. Think Pokemon Go, but in your head instead of, in your phone. If you've got that to where you're able to see this thing in real space, in it's sitting in front of you and it's interacting with depth and all of that kind of stuff, then that means that you could do VR as well, just by making the entire visual space occluded, right? So if you were to do that, there you go, you have VR. So MR is probably going to exist in a much stronger fashion later on, except of course there's this thing called the Magic Leap, which is it's not a real product, even though it has billions of dollars. You'll hear about that some more, but it's not real MR. In a couple of years, 10, 15 years, yeah, I think we'll have a lot more of that kind of stuff going on. But right now, no, VR's dead. VR's going to die. It's a terrible medium for most of the things that it wants to do.
Yeah, I feel like Although, as you said, you're not experiencing it, you're just watching a video. But from watching the videos, I could determine, eh, I'm sure the experience for a little bit would be enjoyable, but would I, as a consumer, want to buy a VR headset and play games on it regularly? Nah.
Pretty much, yeah. And the thing is, like, VR has some cool experiences, and it really does. But you're looking at 20 to 30-minute, heavily scripted, heavily edited, curated experiences that once you're done with it forever. Maybe you show it off to a few friends. But other than that, no, you're not really going to be getting into it. That's where VR currently shines, and it does a fantastic job. It's really, really neat when you get into those experiences. But again, you're talking about a 20 to 30-minute thing. So would you pay $15 to $20 for what is essentially a 30-minute one-time experience? You're paying $20 for a 30-minute episode of TV. Now it's VR and it's cool, but is that worth it? And I would say that for some people, sure. For most people, no.
Yeah, from the way you lay it out, I definitely agree with that 100%. I think, yeah, for most people, unless you have excess money and you're looking for a quick way to spend it and enjoy a few 30 minutes, then
Yeah,
probably not.
Which is why I think we're seeing a lot of these VR cafes, I guess, where you can go, you can pay, $15 for a half an hour VR experience. And that's perfect. You go in, you spend your $20 or whatever, and you get to do some of these things that are super cool and super curated and a lot of fun. You come out and you go, okay, I spent my $20 for it, right? But I went to a place, I didn't pay $500 for the hardware. I didn't pay $2,000 for the computer to run the hardware. I didn't have to put up a 2x2 or 3x3 meter part of my house that I can't use anymore. I just went to this place and I gave them money and they took care of everything. And if it didn't work or if it wasn't good, I'd get my money back, like, I don't know. That stuff I'm seeing a lot more of, and I think it makes sense for a lot of people. And again, then training as well, and eventually mixed reality.
Yep, so going from virtual reality to getting a little bit away from personal YouTube adventures, what made you want to join the Golden Bolt and shaping NewTubers into being so much more than the linked up subreddit it once was?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, at the point that I came into NewTubers as more than a user, well, Bolt had just decided that they were not going to do, and I keep saying they, but it was him, right? It was him and one guy who wasn't there anymore. So, like, he just was AFK forever. And Bolt decided we're not going to do link dumping anymore. And his motivation behind that was something along the lines of, if it's a link dump, nobody's going to see my videos, and I can build a reputation for being super cool by running this subreddit. So he wanted to do that and, get 5 subs out of it, kind of a deal. And he did the no link dump change. And when he did that is also when I found NewTubers. I'd been paying attention to it before that because I just started like, I don't know, a month before that. And he did too, keep in mind. Like, we both started at essentially the same time. And he went straight to Reddit, and I didn't. But I eventually came to Reddit. So he did his thing, and then I was like, oh, well, we could do a Discord server, because I had one. I had my Discord server, and I'd been on other people's Discord servers. So, hey, I can make us a Discord server. And rather than ask if we should do it, I just did it, and then I posted a link and said, "Hey, I made this Discord server," and I did that so that Bolt would not make a Discord server instead, because obviously, being that he was the lead moderator, he could be like, "No, here's our Discord server." So it was essentially a, "Hey, I did this thing already, and people are already using it. You should, totally sponsor it and say it's a real thing." And he was like, "Well, I don't know what Discord is, and I don't want to deal with it, so sure." And then we started chatting, and that's sort of how it started. But it was very, very much not a well thought out anything. It was just, "Hey, I did this so that no one else does it." Both of us were very selfish, essentially.
But hey, it's grown into something bigger and better than I bet either of you thought it would have been at the time, thinking about where it is now.
The irony, I think, is that both of us seemingly expected that the other person was altruistic in their intentions, as in, we both seem to have thought, he thought that I intended to use the Discord in a good way, and I thought he was going to use the Reddit in a good way, and because of that, we actually did use them both in good ways, instead of using them as huge self-promo tools.
And I know, like, for me personally, like, I started on the subreddit, and then it was you that invited me to the Discord server.
Yes.
And I only have to assume that you did that with many, many people at the time. And that was definitely a good way to get that initial Discord community in there and engaged. And it's just that initial Discord group.
Yeah,
a lot of memories there.
Yeah, we had Virus. He was the one of the very first people. And here's the thing, right? So when I look at the early days of Discord, and then I look at the groups that exist now, I feel like, and again, totally a selfish thing, but I look at it and I go, man, I have created so many relationships. I have created so many opportunities just accidentally. Imagine if I didn't exist. It's one of those, like, what's that movie where the guy he never exists? It's played every year, and it's a wonderful, wonderful life. I wish I'd never been born. Maybe. Kind of thing. So, like, I look at that and I go, man, if I hadn't created this Discord, and if I, hadn't forced it to be run in a certain way, kind of a thing, and if I hadn't joined up with the subreddit, look at all these people who would never know each other. Look at all these people who work together and do stuff that wouldn't know each other. Like, the staples of the community, and Bolt and Brax and me and Minnie and Token and stuff we play, and like, just everybody, Axel and Narui and Meg, and like, all these people who wouldn't have any clue who each other is. Jeffers, Gray, like, all of them met because of me. And that's just, it's not that I introduced them, obviously, but if not for me, they wouldn't know each other. And that's such an interesting, like, crazy thought. And I certainly wasn't thinking that when I did it,
Yeah, definitely. Rephrasing what you said, it's just, without you, the group that everyone met each other in would not exist, so they wouldn't know each other.
Yeah.
And to push it further, for this podcast, for example, I wouldn't have the host rank. This podcast wouldn't even exist. I'd probably still be doing Let's Plays if I hadn't had someone smack me across the head and tell me Let's Plays are dead. It isn't 2000 anymore, or 2010. It's 2016, 17. You can't be doing Let's Plays anymore.
And it's funny, because I look at your Discord, and almost every single one of these people, one or two of them, it looks like, maybe not, but almost every single one of these people comes from NewTubers. So, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And again, it's not that I did anything, but if I hadn't done something, and that blows my mind, man.
It is pretty crazy. Now, what would you say is the biggest thing you have learned from your experiences on the internet in the past 2.5 years, whether it be from YouTube, Twitch, NewTubers, just all of that, what is the biggest thing you've learned?
Oh man, I don't know. Start on Twitch. It's easier.
More profitable?
It's easier and more profitable. YouTube sucks. Don't do YouTube. I mean, like, no joke. If I were to go back to when I started, right? And I started in March of 2016. If you were like, here's your brain from 3 years from now, because I believe, let me just, yeah, my 3-year anniversary is in 10 days, right? So if you were to be like, hey, here's your brain from 3 years from now, I wouldn't start a YouTube channel. There's no way. I wouldn't do it. I'd start a Twitch streaming group, you know? And I wouldn't even do it. I'd just manage it. I'd be like, hey, I'm going to take all you guys. Let's do a Twitch streaming group. We'll create our own team, and then we'll start getting sponsorships in no time. And I'd just manage like 5 or 10 people on my off time, bring in sponsorships. We'd be making money already. Like, I would have done that. And I'd be like, hey, you guys all play Fortnite. Oh, that stupid game? No, I don't want to play that. Yet you're going to play it, bro. And you're all going to play PUBG too. And like, you're going to do that. Like, if you gave me my brain from now, oh yeah, change up everything. I'd change up everything just because, God, no, I put in so much work for so little out of it. You know, like, why would I, my latest video is, it's a video on Oni, right? And that video took a month to make, right? A month. I made another video while making that video. And I had to do an interview that I had to set up. I contacted dozens of people. I talked to so many people. And I did so much research. And I did just so much stuff. And I think that video has like 400 views. Like,
yep.
That's not worth it. Even if I were to get every single one of those views monetized, right? That means that I'm making like grand total of 85 cents off of that video. And it's not even going to be 100% monetization. It's going to be like 25%. So I'm going to make like 30 cents off that video. That's not worth it. That's not worth my time. Now, admittedly, I enjoy doing it. So it's not, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I wish I were, getting paid more. But if you were to take me back then, because I wouldn't repeat myself, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's do all the mistakes I've made again. No, I'd be like, I'm going to create a Twitch team and I'm going to turn this into a job. I'm going to work from a home on Twitch and like, be the CEO of a Twitch team. That's what I'm going to do. Because those people make so much money for so little effort. Like, what do you have to do? You have to stream for 4 hours a day.
Yeah, just talk to the chat, make sure the chat cares about what you're doing, and
yeah, And if you've got a couple of people who are pretty decent and they're willing to, work together to grow, which is the whole idea behind NewTubers, by the way, is a few people getting together to work to grow will see success. If you were to do the same thing with Twitch 3 years ago, back before it became the holy grail, like, you'd be sitting on a couple hundred subs, at least for each person, and you'd be working on sponsorships. Now, could you do it today? Not so much, but like at the time, yeah. If I were to go back, what did I learn?
Don't do YouTube, do YouTube.
That's what I learned. Just don't do YouTube. It's such a bad idea. The only reason you do YouTube is because you really want to do YouTube. And you know what? I didn't get into YouTube because I really wanted to do YouTube. I got into YouTube just because I thought it'd be fun. And, like, after a while, it became like, no, you do YouTube now. I put, I don't know, so much sunken cost fallacy going on there where you look at it and it's like, man, I put years into this. I have to keep going now.
You gotta see it through to the end.
Yeah, problem is, when is the end? When does it ever end?
Well, according to your comment section a few months ago on that Doom video, your end should have already happened.
Oh, yeah. No, I should have deleted my channel that day. That's what I'm thinking.
Some of them went much further than that, but yeah.
Yeah, they did.
So continuing on Twitch, and Twitch being a profitable place, Ninja was one of the few select professionals with huge following pulled in by video game giant Electric Arts Inc. to play and promote its latest title, Apex Legends. And the report
$1 million
was that he got $1 million.
Yep, he sure did.
To do this.
Yeah, so
that's
the thing, right? Like, if you have a couple of streamers on a stream team and you have a dedicated manager who's willing to do the work, right? Somebody is like, look, no, I will spend the 15 hours a week to make this work well. I will help design the stuff. I'll contact everybody, you know, I'll do that kind of stuff. Yeah, you get 5 or 6 people into there. That could be a huge deal.
Yeah, especially, like, even, like, okay, obviously Ninja is all the way at the top, so you're not all of the people in that small group.
He's like number 6
close
now.
to the top.
Like number 6 now.
Is he?
Yeah, he lost...
He's continuing to decline?
He lost like 95% of his subs. Yeah.
Well, either way, $1 million for being, like, number 6 or something, that's pretty good.
Hell yeah. No,
yeah, I'd take it.
I'd take it too, you know? I'd take it at number 7.
Whatever I'm doing at the time, not important enough. I'll take that $1 million and play this game.
Hell yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. And it's not even that bad of a game. So, like, you know.
No, everything I read is it was a pretty fun game. Maybe it wasn't super special and not a super standout, but nothing to
I don't know.
completely crap on.
It's perfectly fine. And would I call it incredible? No, but it's fun. Like, it's more fun than Fortnite.
I still haven't found the Battle Royale game that makes me want to play it. What I'm looking for is not what most people are looking for in a Battle Royale game.
Probably.
I don't want to be rushed. I want, even if it's not the game itself, give me a mode that's like, okay, this game is going to take an hour and not like 15 to 20 minutes. That way you're not rushed to do things. Because I understand you're going to have a lot of camping issues, but for me, I just don't want to feel rushed. I want to at least have like 30 seconds to be like, okay, let me process this, and then be like, okay, I'm going to do this. But when you put me in an environment like that, I'm just always going to feel rushed, and that's not the experience I'm looking for.
I dig.
So Halo the Master Chief Collection is coming to the PC one game at a time, and to some people's surprise, not exclusive to the Microsoft Store. It will be on Steam. How do you feel about the Halo franchise, and does this excite you?
I don't know that I have a whole lot to say about it. Like, Halo's okay. Finally get to play the good ones. But like, I used to play on Xbox, so I already played all the Halos that I thought were good. And that's kind of it. It's cool or whatever, I guess. I really don't have that strong of a feeling about it.
For you, it's not really going to be something you look back on and be like, I played this a few years ago. Maybe I'll try and play it on the PC now and see how I feel about it now. It's more of just
Halo was never that for me. Like, Halo, for me, was a thing that I would play with my partner. You know, we would be playing it co-op on Legendary. We'll sit on the couch and play it, you know, and so having it on PC is exactly the experience I don't want out of Halo, but I'm glad that it's going to exist for the people who they do want that.
Very fair, very fair. I think it's safe to say that you have poured in a lot of hours into CSGO. What is the difference between a Halo and CSGO? What made this game special to you compared to the many other multiplayer shooters out there?
So I don't even know how many thousands of hours I have in CSGO, but it is thousands of hours. I want to say it's 2,000 and not 3,000, but it could be 3,000, but it's somewhere in between there. It's between 1,000 and 3,000 hours, which, you know, that's a lot of hours. But at the same time, I've had the game for, you know, however long ago it came out. So, yeah, I've played it for a few hundred hours every year, give or take. You know, CS:GO and also games like Rainbow Six Siege and a few others out there are tactical and realistic to an extent. So a headshot will kill you, kind of a thing, right? And I like
Yep.
that because there's an amount of skill automatically in it. With a game like Halo, there's a lot of randomness to it. Halo is still a very good game, obviously, but as it starts going off further and further into that kind of Halo-esque gameplay, where we're talking like, Call of Duty and Destiny, looter shooters and things like that, when it starts getting even further and further and further away from the realistic stuff, that's where I stopped being such a huge fan. And then additionally, a bigger difference, and this is probably the biggest difference between a game like CSGO and a lot of other games, it's something that you don't see a huge amount of, is there is player skill and not character skill. When you play CSGO, you get better, and the better that you get, the better that you do. Whereas when you play a game like a Call of Duty, if you get 5 kills in a row, you get this, super cool helicopter, which kills 5 more people. So now you have another helicopter. And if you kill 5,000 people in the first 2 weeks that the game's out, you're going to be the number one person, and you're going to have gear and weapons that nobody else has. You're going to have these game-changing effects, as much as, no, really, we've balanced it. Bullshit. Like, you've got this gun that does X amount, whatever, of damage on whatever. It doesn't matter. The specifics don't matter. Point is, when you have these items that actually change the way games play, and they make certain things easier and certain things harder, well, that is not a fair, balanced playing field where the player's skill counts. If I go into a game of CSGO, no matter what, it is my skill that counts. Yes, there's some amount of team play there, but because I know how to play the game, and I know, the maps, and I have map knowledge and game sense, and I know how to shoot the guns, and I know the spray patterns, and stuff like that. Like, that means that I am going to be a certain level of skill, even on a brand new account. Whereas if I go into a brand new Call of Duty account, well, it doesn't matter what my player skill is, because I haven't unlocked the level 17 gun rifle attachment,
Yep. Well, from what I know about CSGO, and as you say, skilled players do better. Well, I think it's safe to say I'm very skilled at video games. I've never met a video game I was bad at. So I definitely think when we do go one-on-one in CSGO, I'm going to completely annihilate you.
I believe that's a real possibility.
I mean,
you're so good.
Anyone.
You're super good.
Yeah, anyone can look back on, like, Super Mario Brothers. I'm just a pro at these games.
Super pro, man. I mean, okay, so I don't know if you even have that Super Mario video still up, but if not, please, you need to include a card at this point, because people need to see it.
Yeah, they're unlisted. I unlisted every video that was in the podcast on both channels. That way, the only thing you can watch that's public is the podcasts that are relevant.
No, you need to link people to
Yes.
Here's the thing, right? Like, I don't like Let's Plays. And you know that, because I told you when you did Let's Plays that I don't like your videos because they're Let's Plays. That video is so funny. I watched the whole thing. It's so funny.
And what made it funny for anyone that hasn't watched it, it isn't the game.
No, God no.
It's how can someone be so bad at something like this?
Yeah, people should just go watch it.
That's me. Hi. I'm great at Super Mario Bros. And retro platformers.
Yes.
And racing games.
Yes. All of the above. You're good at driving in games, period.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know what it
Mafia,
is. I don't know. Something is missing. Something is missing that just causes me to have these super below average gaming skills when it comes to driving or retro platformers.
Oh my god.
I'm so bad.
I'm remembering you driving it was Mafia, right?
It was that or LA Noire, one of the two.
Yeah, it was LA Noire. Oh my god, man. Oh man. You're so good.
I remember I would run into the tree, and my response was to back up into the tree that was behind me, continue to go forward and backward until I got unstuck.
Oh, it was bad. It was
that was my technique.
Yeah, super good, man. You're a fantastic gamer. Real pro.
Absolutely. Do you think they should release a new Counter-Strike game
God, no.
anytime soon as a sequel? Why not?
Because here's the thing, right? And this is a problem, again, with games like Call of Duty. The way that you build a community is by taking one game, updating it forever, right? Like, if they came out with Call of Duty 2, but it was a free update to the current Call of Duty, right? Or, like, here you go, you've got whatever the newest one is. Next year, you get a free update. Well, everybody's going to play it again, which means you're going to have lots of people in it, right? Counter-Strike, their monetization is primarily by selling skins. That's where Valve makes their money on the game. But bigger than that specifically, is that it brings people to Steam, right? It is a ambassador for the Steam program. You want to play Counter-Strike, you have to come and play it on Steam. So if you're going to do that, you want to keep as many people playing it as you possibly can, and you're monetizing them. Well, if you were to say to me, hey, by the way, Counter-Strike 2 is coming out in 12 months, that means that everything I've put into the original game is valueless, right? All of the value that I put into skins and things like that, valueless. They have no value anymore. Additionally, now you're going to say you have to buy another game to play it, which means that half of the player base is going to go to that. Half is not going to leave. You're going to have less people playing both games. It's a terrible, terrible idea. No, what they should do is they should release them for free. Free DLC for as long as humanly possible, and then monetize it in a smart way. This is how come when you play a game... Okay, here's a good one. The Division, all right? So, The Division was the highest-selling game in Ubisoft history. It sold more copies than any game they've ever sold. And that's all of the Assassin's Creeds, everything. No, it was The Division, all right? But because they also charged you for DLC, and that DLC was new game modes that you couldn't play without the DLC, what would happen is certain game modes that weren't particularly interesting were empty. Nobody was playing them. Completely empty. And the newest ones, whichever the newest one was, would be completely full of everybody and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, like, they would only play the newest stuff, and you'd still have people who weren't playing. So you ended up getting this, like, ultra split player base. You'd have the people who wouldn't pay anything. They bought the game and they think, I can't afford it, or I don't want to pay for it, or whatever. So they won't even try it because it's $20, right? Now, forget it. I'm not even going to try out that game mode. It's $20. Whereas if it were free, they'd be like, sure, I'll try it out. So the people who did pay $20, now they have less people to play with. Okay, so that sucks because they're going into it and they're waiting and they're going, wow, nobody's even playing. It's just a bad experience overall to split your player base like that. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So no, Counter-Strike, what they should do if they ever did, not like they're listening to me on this podcast, but, you know, if they wanted to make something else, what do? They should just make it a free update and say, here you go, it's Counter-Strike 2.0.
Yeah, I could say that. I definitely can agree with what you just said because for the exact reasons you said. I mean, if you want a game that's going to last forever, you just got to do these free updates. And I like the skin model they do. It's not the microtransaction bad side that other people do. The way they do their thing with the skins, that's perfectly acceptable. This isn't something that you're giving people where you can pay to be better than other people. It's just pay to have your gun look better than other people.
If you want.
Or knife.
Yeah, if you even want.
Yeah, if you want. Optional.
Totally optional. Doesn't change anything. Though, I gotta admit, I do kill more people when I'm using my dragon lore than when I'm not. I think I feel like I have to live up to the insane value of that particular skin. You can't be bad.
I would say
that thing's like almost $2,000. Okay, that's a really expensive skin, right? So you can't suck with a $2,000 skin. You just can't do that. If you do, people will be like, "Oh, yeah, real nice job there, guy."
Yeah, I definitely could see that. But I would say that's more of a self thing and not a, oh, this knife that's worth 2,000 is better than the other knife.
Exactly.
Just in visual attraction. And that's why I would definitely appreciate a CSGO. Now, keep in mind, whenever I do actually play CSGO, I bet I'm going to be so fucking pissed. The first, few days I play it, I'm going to be pissed because I know I'm going to suck at that game so hard.
Yeah, well.
It's going to take me a bit.
There's a lot of people who suck
once
at
you
the
learn
game.
how to... Once you get past that learning curve and you start okay, I can see this. And then you slowly get better and better. Obviously, I think my cap is going to be a good bit lower than most other people. Unless it's suddenly a magical game I'm great at. You never know. I was decent at Call of Duty Black Ops on the Nintendo Wii.
Okay. All right, good. Excellent.
I think that was my last multiplayer shooter experience that I spent any time in.
All right. Yeah. Super
I'm
good
sure
game,
that
I'm
experience... Sure. Yes, it's going to lead me to good things when I play CSGO. I'm going to be a natural, I'm sure.
Yeah. And you better tell everybody, too. You better be like, look, I don't think you understand. I'm a professional Call of Duty Black Ops Wii player.
Yes. 100%. I'm going to be undefeated when I play CSGO. I'm only going to stream CSGO and I'm going to be undefeated the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And, people get to witness greatness.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
So, what has you so... You were critical of the Doom game that's coming out, but you're a big Doom fan.
Yes. I probably will continue to play it. That's the thing, that video specifically isn't me saying, oh, this is such a shitty game, don't buy it. It's, hey, these things look dumb because I'm a fan.
Yeah. And it's just what would you say first got you into the Doom franchise, and how has that evolved over time?
This isn't going to be as deep an answer as you think it is. Doom is not my favorite game. I just think it's a fun game. That's it.
But clearly...
No, that's really it. I don't even think it's a very influential game, and it's a really important game, and I would rather play other games most of the time.
I think you should take that soundbite and add it to the end of the Doom video. Just continue to stir that pot.
Yeah, that'd be great.
See how many people... Because what's funny about that, it isn't people that just see the title and comment. I'm sure some of them are, but a lot of them, they watch it to the end.
Yeah, it's great. It has great watch time, and it has a good amount of views, and the retention's really strong. And it's got great engagement. I mean,
I'm sure it's
45% engagement. No video does that, especially not over 15 views. Small videos, sure, they'll do 45% engagement. No, I've got thousands of views, 45% engagement, incredible retention, fantastic watch time, and 1,000 fucking dislikes.
Exactly. It's so incredible.
Oh, it's great. Dude, it gets more views than the rest of my channel every day. It's crazy. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Like, it does okay every single day, and I get comments every single day.
And it it's just so hilarious to see that continue, because it's just going to continue. It's not like it's going to stop anytime soon.
Yep.
I mean, even if the Doom game turns out to be horrible, worst of all time.
Oh yeah, I'll still have a bad video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they'll come and say...
They'll just blame you for it.
Exactly, they'll be like, oh, they made these changes because of people like you. It was people like you who told other people not to buy it, and that's why it didn't... Oh yeah. No matter what, I'm screwed.
Yeah, no matter what, it is all going to be your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you just have to accept that.
Yep, pretty much.
So, after I'd gotten all the topics for this episode, something popped up for today. I don't know if you've seen it yet. But James Gunn, he's been reinstated as the director for the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I did not see that.
Yes, he has been instated as of today, according to the article I read. The chairman, Alan Horn, met with him multiple times, and over the course of the time after the public apology and how he handled it afterwards, which to me kind of reads as, well, he's just going to go to DC and do the Suicide Squad thing since we didn't want him anymore, so I guess bring him back. So they brought him back. I'm pretty happy with that.
I think he's a fantastic director, and yeah, I'm glad he'll be doing it.
Because of all things, like, not to dig too deep into that foxhole, but of all people to be like, okay, what this person said was wrong. Anything he said since then to try to make it better doesn't matter. Remove him from what he's doing that he did so well that people love, although he's not that person anymore. And then Disney ignore it for 6 months or however long it was. I was never pro that.
I think that everybody changes, and we all make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Especially, I mean, like, we make horrible mistakes when we're young. And we make horrible mistakes when we're trying to build, a life and a career and all that kind of stuff. And comedy and entertainment, it's even worse because they're taught that all attention is good attention. And most of the time they're right? Like, even if it's slightly bad attention, it still means that your name is a little bit better known. So for most of these people, they need to get out there and say these things and be a little bit controversial and whatever, and join Scientology and all that. Like, joining these groups and being a part of it is how they get out there, and it's how they try to succeed. And it's necessary because there are tens of thousands of other people who look just like you and act just like you and whatever, but they just didn't, hang out with the right dude at the right time, kind of thing. So for all of these people, they all make major mistakes. Everybody makes these major mistakes, and
yep,
they say and do things that they wouldn't mean later on, and they may not have even meant it at the time. It's a thing that they whatever could be a joke. There's a lot of stuff in there to unpack for all of these people, and so for me, I don't know. Not only do you have the right to change your mind, first of all, so even if you did think something like that, well, you have the right to change your mind. And if you've changed your mind from whatever negative thought process is to a positive one, why would that negative thought process be held against you? I changed. I am a better person now. That should be a positive. Not everybody, is born a saint and lives their whole life as a positive virgin,
And especially on the internet, if you say you're sorry for something because of something you said 7 years ago, people don't take these apologies. They just completely disregard it.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like, okay, how are you supposed to make it right then if saying I am sorry for what I said I've changed in this way that you can clearly see. You can see I have none of this has happened anytime recent. I've changed as a person completely since then. And that's not good enough. That's just completely dismissed. How are you supposed to...
You're not.
I don't get that. Yeah, that's...
You're not. No, if you're not somebody who needs to keep your Twitter open, then what you should do is you should once every couple of months wipe your Twitter completely. Like, unless there's some reason for you not to do that, you should wipe your Twitter. Because I guarantee you, there's something terrible that you said that won't be considered to be terrible until 20 years from now, you know?
Yep. I mean, even on YouTube, like, Let's Players I watched when I was 12, the language they used then, back in like 2010, 2011, some of what they said, normally, because that was just how people talked at the time, would not be okay today. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just... Times change, and you can't... The way things are at one point, and how people act because of the time they live in, they shouldn't be held against them when times have changed and they've changed with the times.
Confusingly said, but I agree.
Yes, that's the mind of Wes.
Yes.
I mean, even like between us, I know I've changed a lot since I first joined the Discord server.
I would agree.
Very, very much so. For the better, in most ways, I'd say.
Sure.
I still got the Dr. Pepper addiction going for me. I'd consider that a positive.
Oh, yeah. That's huge positive.
One day I'm going to get that sponsorship.
One day. Have you joined their birthday cake club thing? The
last time I
pepperonis?
tried to join something, apply for something, it didn't happen. And I'm just like, come on now. I know I have to be at least in the top 10% of Dr. Pepper fans.
You should try again. And if you get that birthday cake soda, you gotta send me one of the cans, man. I so want to try it. It looks disgusting. I bet it's just super gross, but I really want to try it.
It's an experience.
Dude, I love that kind of... Not... Right now I have next to me a root beer float bag of Peeps marshmallows. I know they're going to be disgusting. I know this is going to be the grossest thing I've ever eaten. But I have to try it. I have to try it.
You gotta know.
Yeah, you know, again, I know it's gross. I know it's gross. But I'm still going to try it.
I don't blame you for that. I can see that. Sometimes you just gotta try something, even if you know it's probably not gonna be good. So, moving on from that, from what we transitioned somehow to Dr. Pepper from people changing, of course, the Aladdin trailer released this weekend. You have said that Aladdin is the best movie of this year. After the trailer has released, do you still think
it's going to be the best?
This is the best movie of the year.
Best movie of the year. Hell yeah.
The trailer only validated it.
If anything, it made it look slightly worse than the original trailer, but still very good.
I watched the trailer, and for me, I like to consume at least a couple of trailers every week. That way, it's like, okay, is this something I should consume, whether it be a movie, a video game? Like last week with Brax, it was the Sinking City video game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just something interesting for both of us to look at and see if we'd like it or not, and discuss it. And for Aladdin, for me, I think it's hilarious that Will Smith is playing the role he is.
Bro, this movie looks so bad. It's gonna be so bad.
The best movie of the year.
Best movie of the year. I mean, oh my god. Like, I just want to make it clear that every one of these trailers and teasers, I have commented hashtag not my Jafar. Okay? Because he, like, no. Jafar has a certain image. This guy's too young, he's too clean, and he's soft, and like has this like, hello, would you like to buy some perfume? Like, no, it's not Jafar. Jafar is Jafar, and not my Jafar. Like, he's worse than the genie as far as I'm concerned.
The biggest thing for me to determine if the movie's gonna be good or not is if they accurately portray that Aladdin is the genie.
I know you've been on this thing for a while, but he's not the genie. Never has been, and never will be. But, you know, I know, again, this is your thing, and you consider it to be, you know, he's not the genie man. I'm sorry.
I can't believe you would come onto this podcast and say such horrendous things.
These truths must be told.
These quote-unquote truths that you call them.
They must be told, yes. And I know you're in on this. Like, I know that you wear that foil hat. You know, you're like, man, of all the hats I'm going to wear, it is the Aladdin is a genie foil hat. I get it. But no, just no.
Then I guess this movie's going to be the worst of the year, not the best of the year.
Best movie of the year. And you know what? It's going to be the second best of the decade. Because the first best, of course, is Avatar.
Nothing can beat The Last Airbender.
The Last Airbender is the best movie of the past ever.
Yeah, nothing's ever going to top it.
Nope. But Aladdin's going to be number 2. I can feel it.
Yes. Yes, you can just feel it in your bones. This is going to be amazing. Something you're going to talk about for the next decade.
Yes.
So, you brought up this week's video you made earlier. So, I guess it's no secret now that you're a weep now. So, I know you're going to be very, very fascinated by Netflix, which is, of course, the world's leading internet entertainment service. They are entering into partnerships with various people, production houses that are going to make more anime content. How excited are you for all this new anime content that's going to be coming to Netflix?
Well, considering the only tag that I have excluded on Netflix is anime, I won't even know. Yeah.
Now, after the sins you committed this week on the channel, I would like to give you the opportunity here on the BS Podcast to confess your sins over the video that just made you look like you're going to be a weeb for now going forward. And I don't want you to have to live a life of a sinner, so will you take this opportunity to confess your sins?
I mean, just here. Okay, look, it's an anime game, but like it's the second anime game ever, and like it's barely anime. She just has purple hair. Okay, so I don't feel like I did anything wrong here. All right, and
I feel like you're in denial and you're going down a bad road.
It's not like I watched the shit, man. Like, you know. Besides,
we're gonna have to bring you into an intervention soon.
Yeah, no. Like, I didn't even realize it was anime. It's that not anime, you know? Like, it wasn't until later, until I was playing through it again, that I was like, oh wow, this is actually anime. Because when I think about it, I don't think of it as an anime game at all.
That's how they hook you in, man.
Yeah, first hit's free, right?
Yeah. First hit's free, and then you're just gonna realize you're gonna be eating popcorn at midnight watching some anime, and you'll be like, "Oh man, what have I done with my life?"
Right. Now, like, here's the thing: I've seen animes. It's not like I don't feel like you can, and I take this for video games too. And food and a lot of things. I don't feel like you can say things are bad if you've never tried them, right? Like, you can't be out there being like, oh, hey, man, I really hate Dr. Pepper if you've never had Dr. Pepper, right? Like, that's not something you could say. But if you've had it, at least that argument could be made a lot more firmly. Like for me, I've played all the games, every game that I'm like, wow, that game is trash. I played it. I played that game. You know, I put quite a lot of time into Anthem, and that's how come I feel very comfortable saying Anthem's a trash game. Nobody should buy it. But if you don't try it, you can't do that. So I've watched some animes, you know, and like some of them aren't bad, but they're not great. And that, you know, that's kind of my feeling on it. It's more that it annoys me when people get into this like super weeb fandom thing. Like that's just generally annoying to me more than anything else.
Well, that's why you have the room on the Discord server that you're going to ban everyone eventually.
Exactly.
One day. They're never going to see it coming.
They never will. And you know what? That's why they are bannable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember when Netflix a few months ago had the Stranger Things, I'm pretty sure it was Stranger Things, that interactive storytelling thing they did?
Yes, Bandersnatch.
Yes, there's no way I could have said that. Even after reading it a few times, there's no way I was going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to be doubling down on the interactive storytelling content. They want to create more of it. So, do you think this is going to be a good road to go down?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Bandersnatch itself, I would argue, is not actually a multiple choice anything, right? You can choose to watch it in different ways, but ultimately you are supposed to watch all of it, right? So it is,
yes,
it's like 30 minutes or whatever from start to finish a single path, but you're supposed to do all of the paths to get the story. And all of them take about 2 hours or the length of an average movie, right? So it's still just one movie. It's just cleverly done with some technology in it. Now, do I think that more things should be done like that, like Bandersnatch itself? Maybe not, but I fully expect that eventually there will be, not necessarily saying this is a good thing, but I fully expect it will exist. There will be movies where entire portions of them are created to appease certain groups. So, you know, the people who like happy endings to a film will get the happy ending. And people who don't like happy endings won't get the happy ending. They'll get the dark ending, you know, and stuff like that. So that people are being entertained better. It will be slightly different, of course, than what we would expect. And I'm sure there will still be plenty of scripted content, aka like a Game of Thrones. But I fully expect that we'll see that kind of super exchangeable content going forward. It just makes sense. You know, you can add in product placement that gets spliced in directly while someone's watching it. You know, if you find that this person is in Atlanta, right? Well, we want to advertise Coca-Cola to people in Atlanta, so this person's going to be drinking a Coca-Cola throughout the whole film. But I watch it, and I'm in, you know, a place where they're trying to sell Mountain Dew, and I see a Mountain Dew in that person's hand the whole time. And I like happy endings, so they're gonna, you know, whatever. Like, I fully expect we'll be in that universe in 10, 15 years or less.
You brought up Game of Thrones, so I have to ask, how excited are you for the final season, and do you think it's going to have a traditional happy ending?
Bro, I don't even know. Like, part of me wants it to be the happy ending, but then part of me is kind of disappointed that it might be a happy ending, but I know that if it's not a happy ending, I'll be mad. But is mad a good thing? I don't know. Like, I've been, bro, I don't even know.
I feel like what it boils down to for me is what originally made Game of Thrones so intriguing, besides obviously the genre it was at the beginning, is that the Stark hero at the beginning, who you thought was going to be the one, the traditional happy ending character, died.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like once you go down that road, you can't end it in a traditional or even a more complex traditional happy ending. So, if so, what was the point of the fake out?
I don't think it'll be a happy ending. but like the worst possible ending is that John and Danny go up north of the wall to fight off the Night King, and they just barely defeat him, and then the Lannisters wipe them out, and they're all dead. Like, that's the worst possible ending, right? And I don't think they're gonna do that. But if they did that, I'd be mad. You know, I'd be legitimately like, no, that's bullshit, bro. That's just the
best ending.
That's bullshit. The best ending, on the other hand, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't want to be put in a position of deciding what's good. I would hate to be one of the showrunners for this, because I'd be like, I don't know. And I'd hate to be George R. Martin, because no matter what he does, he's done the wrong thing. But as long as Cersei
not
doesn't
everyone's
win,
gonna agree.
just Cersei can't win, because that would be the worst possible ending. That would just suck.
What are you saying? The best ending isn't Cersei using magic to bring back the one obnoxious, super monstrous son, and then them being the winners at the end?
No, that would be the worst. Oh my god, could you imagine? Because they did bring back the mountain. Could you imagine if they brought back her shitty son, Joffrey?
Think of the internet outrage that night and the following day.
Oh, the zombie King Joffrey. Oh god.
What a thing that could be.
You know, that actor, the kid who played Joffrey, got so much hate for that role that he doesn't even act anymore. Like, that's how much people would not like the fact that they did that.
But see, I thought he did a fantastic job. I don't think anyone can deny that.
Oh,
he
no.
absolutely nailed it.
He nailed it. But I hate the character nonetheless.
Yeah, the character sucks.
Yes.
Worst character ever.
Yeah.
But the dude playing the character, fantastic.
Yeah. Gleason, Jack Gleason, I think.
Yeah. It's a shame he stopped doing it, apparently. That's sad to hear.
Yes, he stopped acting.
Okay, the final question of the episode, a lighthearted question. I asked Braxis, and I have to have your answer.
Oh, okay.
Who is the better half of CryMor Gaming?
I think we both have our strengths, and we both do, totally different things. Probably Brax. Yeah, he's the better half.
Aw, that's a sweet answer.
Well, he does all the streams, so.
Do you want to know Brax's answer?
I mean, I should probably actually watch his interview on the podcast, don't you?
Probably.
I keep thinking about it. It's in my watch list. So I'm just,
Takes time to get through. I mean, it's not the shortest video in that playlist. It's probably on the very top of the long end, but
Good. Yeah, I'll just skip to the end and hear his answer and then pretend like I watched his whole thing.
Yeah, I have a timeline in the comments. There's a timeline in the comments. If you want to skip through, there'll be a timeline in this one.
Yeah, he just needs to not watch this one to hear that I did that
then. Well, please tell us where we can find you.
You can find CryMor on, or me on CryMor. YouTube.com/CryMor Gaming TV, or on Twitch at twitch.tv/CryMor Gaming, or basically anywhere CryMor Gaming, but that's CryMor. There is no E. It's not cry more, like more crying. It's cry more, like Moriarty. Gosh.
But after you watch that Doom video, apparently some people will cry.
You might cry if you are like super into Doom. Yeah.
The links will be in the description down below. I definitely would recommend you go check out the CryMor Gaming channel. And you want to catch one of the streams, of course. I haven't been to a stream in a while, but last time I was there, it was a good time.
We try to keep it fun.
Absolutely. I hope everyone that's listening to this has enjoyed the ride. There will be a new guest next week. And I hope you have a great rest of the Monday. Peace out, guys.